If you want to be able to cover the top receivers like Diggs, then you have to be able to move in the same way, and you have to train in the same way that they do. This is why you see the top DBs of all time. Take a look at Deion Sanders or Charles Woodson. They have experience playing receiver, and I've gotten snaps at it, even in the NFL. It's also the same reason why you see DBs get burnt and run right by the receiver sometimes, because they cannot decelerate and they don't have the same route running skills that receivers do. That's why in this video, I'm going to break down the number one most ignored training tool of a defensive back, how to decelerate. I'll give you 3 types of drills to train your deceleration, and I'll break down exactly how to do it to be efficient and be able to cover a receiver no matter which type of break he does. So the first type is acceleration, deceleration drills. Make sure you take notes or take a screen recording so you can remember these and add to your workouts. The first part is sprinting to a cone and breaking down with 2 feet even stance. Now you're gonna do all 3 of these drills 2 times on each side. The first one is just getting to a strong stance with 2 feet, sink down, as coaches say, sit in that chair and bring your pad level low. To make an efficient break, you have to drop your hips low and bring your chest down also. As you can see in this example, the defensive back doesn't do a good job of matching the receiver's hip drop. He's still really high and doesn't start to decelerate into a few yards later, whereas the receiver is sitting in the chair, his pad level is low, and he's turning to get out of there. Now this next drill really works on your single leg stability and deceleration. You sprint to the cone and break down with 1 leg in front. As you can imagine, this will really help when you're making different cuts, jukes, running ins or out routes, because you're most of the time planting off 1 leg to go the opposite direction. Now the third part of this drill is running the square as fast as you can, because when it comes time to game day, you're usually not going to fully stop and start again. You're going to have to do it all in one fluid motion. Now aside from using a few cones, another way to do acceleration, deceleration drills is to do them in a straight line. So as you can see in these examples, sprint for a distance about 5 to 10 yards, and then decelerate, coming on balance with 2 feet, getting a nice strong square stance, and make sure you alternate which leg you're starting to gear down on. When you're going from a fast speed to gearing down, you'll have more pressure initially on 1 leg, so just make sure you even that out, so when it comes time to game day, you don't have a stronger or weaker side. You're a well-balanced, well-rounded athlete. The next progression of doing forwards, acceleration, deceleration drills is just sprinting and coming to balance again, but this time, similar to the previous drill, you're going to have 1 leg in front of you in a staggered stance. Try to hold that position and be strong, keep your balance for about a second, and then take off to running and repeating it again on the next line. Now these 2 drills, you can do them either with a complete stop, or you can do them with just slowing down and then speeding up again. I recommend to mix both into your training so you're not missing out on any benefits of either type. So those 3 drills to do with the 4 cones and the 2 drills to do linear are all part of the acceleration, deceleration drills. Now the next type of the 3 types of drills to improve your deceleration is working your jab steps. And this really helps you increase the amount of force you are able to absorb with 1 leg. And when you think about speed, it's all about producing force one way to move fast the other direction. But before that, you have to be able to absorb the force, which is what we are working on here. Absorbing the force, absorbing your body weight, so you're able to stop and redirect to move fast through your breaks. Now you could do jab steps on air, you could do them through a series of cones, you could do them through a ladder. If you follow different receiver accounts on Instagram, you'll often see lots of drills that look very similar to this because it helps them absorb force, stop, and their whole goal is to create separation. So they run fast, slow down fast, change direction, and run fast. That's why as DBs, we often just work on accelerating, but we forget to decelerate, which is where exactly these drills are going to come into place. And for force absorption, there's a lot of different drills you could do in the weight room, such as snap downs or weighted snap downs, different types of lunges, but that will be a topic for a later video. Now the third type of drill is different plyometrics. Not only will you become a better athlete for jumping and becoming more explosive, but on the way down, It's all about how you land safely and how you absorb that force. Or if you think about something like depth jumps, where you're coming from a higher surface than the ground, where your body starts high, lands low, there's more force there than you're normally used to, which is something that your increased body control, that will translate directly to the field. Now, if you're still watching, I saved the best tip for last, and that is remember that there's no secret sauce. There's no one drill that will do everything for you. So the best thing you can actually do is just go out there and run full speed routes. Run full speed routes from the receiver standpoint and from a defensive back after your transition, because unless you're running full speed and you have to gear down, decelerate, change direction, it will never mimic an actual game-like situation where you're seeing somebody and reacting off of them at full speed. You could do lots of ladder drills, different plyometrics, but unless you're being competitive, getting out there, running full speed routes, either just by yourself, off a coach, or the best way to do it is visually have a receiver there, because that is exactly what it will look like in the game. And remember, the whole point of these drills is to get better at the game. So the top tip, have a receiver, be fully competitive, and run full speed routes. You can imagine if this DB over a whole off season ran a comeback route a bunch of times, how he would be in a better position to react to the receiver dropping his hips, gear down himself, and then turn to make a play on the ball. So for all these drills together, I'd recommend working on your deceleration probably about twice a week, adding some of the drills in if it's the box drills, the linear deceleration drills, some jab steps, but then also just have plyos constantly throughout your workouts, especially on lower body days, and hit those multiple times a week. These are all things that will help you on your deceleration. And for defensive back specifically, if you're wondering, okay, great, this is definitely going to help me in my game. It's something that I have not been training as much, and it'll help me cover receivers. However, if I'm a defensive back and I'm backpedaling, how am I going to decelerate and have clean footwork while covering a receiver? Then make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell for next week, because I'm going to break down how to have cleaner footwork as a defensive back, so your feet don't have to do a lot of different steps, just clean footwork, clean steps, so you could cover receivers faster, get out of breaks faster, and become an all-around better defensive back.